I am Umi Jua. This is our second midday live. It's going to be Tuesdays at noon Central Time every week now through the end of December. Next year, there will be no more free school lunch. There won't be any more school lunch that I can think of right now. So, we are going to be tackling topics of ascension, exploring these topics together, things that help us step into our higher selves, things that help us understand the world around us better. If you missed the one from last week about the matrix, how we misinterpret the matrix, you definitely want to check that out. I will link that in the description box and in the comments. So, what I want you guys to do is strap in, settle in. If you are coming to this live after it posts, I want you to make sure that you like, that you subscribe, that you hype the video. You can leave a super thanks if you want to bless the teacher today. Okay, so what we are going to be talking about is soul ties, and not in the traditional sense. There may be trigger warning. Okay, let me go ahead and do my trigger warning. I'll do another one later. But there may be some things that come up that if you have certain issues attached to old relationships, I may use some religious context or biblical context for those of you who have church hurt or anything like that. These are not things that are meant to indoctrinate or Bible teach. They are just references for use, okay? So we are going to be talking about how we're going to be defining soul ties. But most importantly, in the areas of contracts versus covenants, and how you know what kind of soul tie you're in, and what kind you need to be breaking, and what kind you need to be entering into. Okay, so doesn't look like YouTube is pushing this live out too much right now, but that's okay. All right, because this is food for the soul. This never ever gets old. It doesn't decay. Okay, it doesn't spoil. This is food for the soul. Hello, Maria. Welcome, love. So you guys hit that like and subscribe on the way in. If you did not hear the trigger warning, there will be possibly be things said here that kind of trigger you in regards to relationships, or I may use certain religious texts or references. This is not a Bible study or a religious study. This is a spiritual study, but sometimes the teachings of different things overlap and they make them easier to explain. They are references, okay, not teaching or indoctrination, okay? So that is your trigger warning. All right, there will not be any card pulls as well today. Okay, this is a school of life lesson that we'll be studying. Hey, Himadri. But you guys hit that like and subscribe on your way in if you haven't already. We will be defining soul ties, but we will be addressing it in the hello there. I can't read your name because I think that's Arabic I'm looking at, but I'm not sure, but I apologize. I can't read it, okay? Hey, some young. But yeah, let me just tell you guys, this is a lesson, so I won't be engaging in the comments as much. Hey, Nitesh. So if I miss your comments or it seems like I'm ignoring you, I'm not. I'm on a strict time limit with this because I have to get to a final exam. So I'm in school. So I have to get to a final exam, but I'm here Tuesdays live from here till the end of December to do school lunch where we explore topics of ascension, things that help us reach enlightenment, okay? I am here Sundays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time where I do readings, okay? Pull cards and do the whole psychic thing or seer thing or clairvoyant or whatever you want to call me. I just see stuff and I pull cards to help me. Okay. All right. So, but that's not what we're doing today. let me go ahead and pull up we're going to be searching some terms, okay? You guys, I would advise, if you plan to be coming to school lunch now to the end of December, I would like for you, if it suits your soul, to be taking notes. That's even if you come later, and you are not a part of the live. I want you to be taking notes for yourself. Get you a notebook and, really be taking these things down. Okay. So when you get to the end of the year, you have accumulated a kind of soul book or life book or school of life book for yourself. Okay. So let's get into defining soul ties. Let's do that first. And let's do a general overview of that first, okay? A soul tie is a deep spiritual or emotional bond between two people, which can form from any close relationship, not just romantic ones. These connections are often seen as powerful bonds that can last beyond a relationship's end, influencing thoughts and emotions. While some soul ties are viewed positively and meaningful and healthy connections, others are seen as unhealthy or toxic if the bond is imbalanced. Okay, so it's really just a connection that you have with another person that is established through deep emotion or physical connection. Okay, or both. The more emotion that is involved and the more physicality or physical connection that is involved, the deeper the soul tie. Now, soul ties don't have to always be romantic, as it stated before. You do have soul ties in your lineage, in your blood, right? From the people that brought you into the world and, those you share DNA with, all right? You also have soul ties with people that you involve yourself with sexually, okay? Sometimes even kissing can establish a soul tie, because if there's emotion behind it, then that connection leaves a trace on you, okay? Let's see. Soul ties can also be established through friendships. So if you have a deep bond or friendship with someone where you share emotional connection with them, right? Life stories, bonds of either healthy emotional connection or trauma bonds. You can trauma bond with friends. The bonds do not just have to be with, partners and family, okay? So, all right. So now that we have defined soul ties, okay, you guys share the live, like, subscribe, do all the things, fire up the comments for me, okay? Let's define contracts, because what we're going to be looking at, all right, and again, this is a school of life. So you have to be a person who actually wants to better your life. You're not just coming here to get a reading, which I don't mind doing. That's part of my calling, right? But my main job and initial job is to help us ascend, to help us as light workers, light being, empaths, spiritual people, those who are seeking enlightenment. My job is to help us get there through learning, through education for our souls, okay? So our spiritual ascension. I do readings to help with that, but that is not the end all and be all of how we ascend. And a lot of times, if people are coming only for the readings, because I do life lessons as well during my other lives, okay? So they're not just getting readings. We are ascending throughout the process of those live readings and during that time of lives. This particular hour is set aside just for those life lessons, okay? Because if you truly want to get better, you're not just seeking a word from a reader, okay? You're not just seeking, pull some cards, tell me my future. If you truly want to get better, you're willing to learn yourself, you're willing to face your shadows, you're willing to understand the world around you, and the people you still, the people you can help, and the people that can help you, all the things that help us with ascension. Okay, so what I want you to do is just really focus. Okay, settle yourselves down. You are not here for a reading. You are here to understand life and yourself within life. If that suits you, then remain. If not, keep it moving, because this is real here. Okay, this is really real, and I want anybody who comes in contact with me to be better off than when they left me. Okay, and that can only be done if you lock in and connect on a soul level, on a spiritual level, and you understand and believe that you are worthy of more than just to be catered to. Okay, what you really want to have somebody in your life, you want to tie yourself with people. We're going back to the lesson. You want to tie yourself with people who make you your best self, make you want to be your best self. Okay, and you become your best self within those connections. These are not people that you would enter into contracts with. These are people that you will enter into covenants with. Hit that thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe if you haven't. Okay? But these are people that you enter into covenants with. Those that you enter into contracts with, you will always, always, always compromise yourself in ways where you lose parts of yourself that help you get into the light and be light and remain light. Okay? So we are going to now go into the areas where we define contracts versus covenant, and we learn how to apply them in our everyday life. Okay? We will learn what's behind them, and we will learn where we are in the present and where we're going in the future with those. Again, if that resonates with you, if that's something that you want, we're not doing card readings today. This is a School of Life lesson. Come Sundays and Wednesdays for card readings. Every other Friday for members nights, okay? Hit that like button if this is resonating. The first thing we are going to do is we're going to define some terms, okay? And the first term we're going to define, take notes if you like. The first term we're going to define is contracts, okay? Because we're entering into contracts, all right? A contract is initially defined as an agreement. It is written or spoken, and it is intended to be enforceable by law. It is a commitment. It calls for settlement, okay? You do get to an understanding of some kind of what the terms, meaning your part and my part, what we will do with those, okay? They can involve being indentured or some sort of slave, okay? People can agree to slavery, okay? And a lot of times it's more emotional slavery, spiritual slavery, okay? But when you enter into a covenant, compromise is always required, okay? So let's define compromise. Hit the like button, okay? Hit the like button and share this live as well. All right, you guys hit that thumbs up. All right, let's define compromise. A compromise is an agreement or a settlement of dispute that is reached by each side making concessions or giving over something that they may have wanted, but they've got to give up something to get something, and it always involves some kind of dispute. Okay, hit that like button on your way in and share the live. It always involves some kind of dispute, which means that if you are in a contract with someone, right, and you have to compromise, then there is some sort of dissension, there is some sort of disconnect, there is some sort of maybe even fight in that, all right? there is no there isn't full cohesion, there isn't full harmony. Okay, so you've got to give up something to get something, and vice versa. However, because it is, number one, a contract, and number two, involves compromise, then that means somebody has leverage over the other person that can be used to gain compromise, right? So let's talk about, we hear a lot of times about people selling their soul to the devil. What does that look like? That would look like they would have to give up way more, essentially, and over time, than what they're getting. It usually involves quick, like wanting to get somewhere very quickly, them not being used to, say, money or whatever, fame or whatever they would get, and wanting it to come quickly, wanting it to come hard and fast, wanting to relieve some sort of internal pain that they think can be released internally, okay? They think can be released by external circumstances, but it's really things inside them that would make them even consider not necessarily selling their soul to a real devil, but an establishment or an entity that would cause them to compromise themselves too much. Hey, Daphne, welcome, love. So you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, and share the live. So when they give into that, they're giving into something that has more power than them, right? More resources than them, more to gain than them, okay? And they will give more of themselves, but become less and less of themselves, okay? And I'm not saying he did this, okay? So don't nobody go and say, Umi Jua said Michael Jackson sold his soul to the devil. I would never ever say that specifically about anyone. I don't know these people, okay? But let's just look at his life. Also Elvis Presley, let's look at his as well. When you look at these super mega superstars, right? The talent is unmatched, it's phenomenal, it is seen, it is heard, it is felt, okay? The work ethic also goes along with it, all right? Then they have a knack for aesthetics. They know exactly how to get across what it is they want you to see and feel, okay? Now, when you have that kind of energy, because that's what it is, when you have that kind of energy, there will be people who come who want to say, hey, let me partner with you. Let's enter into a contract. You're too big to be in such a small place, okay? So let me make it better. Let me make you bigger. And because people who have these star qualities, which is every one of us, by the way, but people who have these amazing gifts and talents, whether they be crocheting or whether it be Michael Jackson, okay? If someone comes along and says, hey, I can take this and make it better, that's really what we want. Because if you're a person who has a star quality and you take the time to learn it and make it and do it and grow it, right, you want to share it with other people. That is usually the main goal. But when you come from lack, when you come from poverty, when you come from abuse, when you come from self-doubt, when you come from fear, when you come from whatever you come from, that's not an area of security, safety, self-love, self-direction, self-reflection, all the things that gird you up as a human, then you will enter into contracts where you become indentured, so they can't put their music out anywhere. They have to, stay hooked to a label. They have to fight for their to get the masters to their, you see what I'm saying? They essentially have to fight to become the master of their own lives after they've entered into these contracts. Now, let's pull it down to the level of those who have not reached mega superstardom, okay? You meet someone, and this person seems absolutely amazing. You are ready to open up and give them your heart, right? You are ready to make them a part of your everyday life. You're ready to pour into them, and you you have the desire and the hope that they will do the same. Okay? Within that, are we looking at establishing a covenant, or are we looking at establishing a contract, right? We're going to define covenant in a minute, but I want you to really understand and dig deep into where you may be, or where you have been, and where you may be headed, okay, in regards to how you have these connections with certain people in your life. Are you having to make compromise after compromise after compromise? Meaning, are you giving away parts of yourself because there is a dispute as to how you connect? Okay? Maybe there's a dispute as to how you connect with yourself. You don't love yourself enough. So therefore, you're compromising so much of yourself to have this connection with this person who validates you. Okay? So look at that, chew on that for a bit. Let's go ahead now, and part of compromise is negotiation. Okay? Let's look at the term negotiation. And that's really the process of transferring ownership. Okay? It's a discussion surrounding it sometimes, but sometimes you are entering negotiations with people that have not been verbalized. You're negotiating energy every single moment of every single day. And a person who may be manipulative or have ulterior motives, trust me, they know how to get you to transfer ownership of your deepest, most loving, most truest parts of yourselves, so they can harvest that energy to feed their ego, to feed their bank accounts, to get sex, to whatever their agenda is, or they may have multiple ones. If they can, as much as they can get out of you, they will, then they will take it. And you're entering into those negotiations all the time. Okay? So this is where self-awareness comes in. You always have to be checking in with yourself when you're not with people and when you are with people. The more you check in with yourself when you're not with people, okay, the more it will be easier to use your intuition to navigate how you deal with people without always constantly being in your head. You'll be able to live from your heart space. That's going to be next week's lesson. Let me write that down, okay? Living from the heart space, because that is very important. Now, if you don't know what intuition is, it's just, and I covered this in the last one where we talked about the misinterpretation of the matrix. You want to go ahead and check out that video. Okay. However, if intuition is simply you paying attention to your inner tutor, okay? Intuition is your inner tutor in action. Inner tutor in action. That's your intuition, okay? You can take the first syllables of the first two words and the last syllable of the last one, okay? Intuition. That's simply you, your higher self, your most connected self, your truest self, understanding how to navigate situations, circumstances, exchanges of energy without having to give over yourself in ways that do not serve you, the situation, the circumstance, or the other person or people. Okay? So if you are constantly checking in, you guys give me that thumbs up. If you are constantly checking in with yourself while you're alone, then you won't have when people come at you and they're offering things that are not suitable for where you want to go, for the enlightenment that you're trying to reach, for the higher self you're trying to connect to, for the life that you're trying to build for yourself, for the vision that you have gained for you, then it'll be easy to say thanks, but no thanks. Okay? So that is negotiation. Compromise is necessary in certain situations, but look at it this way. You have to compromise to take jobs, right? Employment of some kind. You exchange your time, your energy, your physical day, time in your physical day, in exchange for money. Okay, in exchange for pay, sometimes for benefits, right? Health benefits. Um, Sometimes even those health benefits you have to give back to the company to get those benefits. That is a compromise. Okay, and every time you look at your pay stub and you see that they have taken money out for you to manage your health, money that they gave you, right? You feel a little something most of the time, do you not? That's you have had to compromise part of what you put out, right, to maintain this contract, right? Because you gave them energy, you gave them time, right? You gave them your physical strength and labor, whether it be from here or with these, okay? They paid you, right? But now you need health care. So you've got to give them part of what they paid you to get that health care. And then when you get that health care, you've got to go pay, you got to pay deductibles and you got to pay co-pays, right? So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the job. I'm not one of those people, oh, you need to get out your job. If you have a job that you enjoy and it's maintaining your life, honey, don't go jumping, off into Never Never Land and feeling like, a job is a bad thing. Sometimes it's just the job that you're at. Sometimes you're just not living in your purpose. Sometimes you don't have a vision for yourself that can get you to a place where you can be on a job that you love, or you can come off your job. It's life, okay? However, you have to really think about compromises in a way that, how does this compromise best make me who I want to be? How do I get to the place? Having a vision, I speak this in almost everything, having a vision for your life is how you get to where you want to be. You compromise less and less, or the compromises that you make, you can live with them. They are part of a foundation that you're building. Okay? So that is contracts. Let's go to covenants. All right? Covenants typically have more, some people call covenants contracts, but I look at them more along a spiritual connection, right? A spiritual level. And it is another type of agreement, okay? It's agreed by lease or deed, okay? It is a promise, all right? A pledge, or a vow. We will use those words, a promise, a pledge, or a vow. What's the difference when we're looking at this? Okay. I'm going to use a word here that you really, really need to be paying attention to. If you're going to be having people in your life, right? Some things you just got to negotiate the matrix with contracts. Like I mentioned, a job, okay? Or going to get your car fixed, you got to negotiate price, stuff like that. But where I'm talking about soul ties and human bonds and human connections, okay? So we've talked about contracts. Now we're talking about covenants, vows, promises, pledges, okay? We're looking at this from a more spiritual standpoint than contracts. When you enter into covenant, right, the biggest and main thing that remains intact, or things that you can swap out: compromise versus sovereignty. Okay? Hit that like button on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't already. Okay? Sovereignty is authority of a state to govern yourself. Authority to govern yourself. Okay? It is supreme power and authority. Okay? It is full autonomy. All right? Freedom from external control, influence. Freedom from external control or influence. It is independence. It is self-containment, right? This is where you want to come from when you are entering into connections with people. Can you fully and most lovingly and powerfully be who you are and come from a space with them where you are fully accepted as your own person? Because someone who wants to enter covenant with you, they don't want to change you. But they also, this is someone who is secure, right? This is someone who loves themselves. This is someone who understands their own value and worth. They don't want to change you. They want to connect with you. They want to grow with you. They want to see you, and they want to be seen by you, right? They want the best for you. And the only way that happens is if you are able to be a sovereign, autonomous being, and they are too. There are no power struggles, and there is no need for control. All right. There is no need for compromise because there is no debate about who I am and who you are. A lot of us are not willing to disconnect from or walk away from or reject people who do not align with our personal vision for ourselves, who do not align with our self-love and autonomy. Okay. And that's because we don't feel like we have it. We don't love ourselves as deeply. We don't have personal autonomy in the fact that we don't need outside validation to make us feel loved or appreciated or worthy. Okay? Things from the outside should not be the determining factor of whether or not you know that you are loved, worthy, and enough. Right? So whenever you find yourself in a power struggle, then that means someone is trying to pull you out of your sovereign nature or your sovereign right to be who you are. Now, if who you are is wonderful, if you're loving, kind, generous, faithful, all those things, then what's there to change? What is there to control? And if you aren't any of those things and you don't want to be any of those things, why enter into a covenant, which won't be a covenant, it would be a contract with somebody who is those things, right? You should leave them alone. Okay? This is how we kind of navigate our lives so that we're not the ones looking in the mirror saying, WTF, how did I get here? Right? We're not crying ourselves to sleep at night. We're not, prolonging relationships that don't help us grow. And the thing is, we don't see and understand that when we enter into these soul ties with people, whether they be contracts or covenants, that's what they are. It's an exchange of energy in a more magnetic and bonding, locked in kind of way. Okay. When we're entering into contracts and covenants, we don't realize we're either doing a disservice to someone or we're helping them. It's not really neutral. Because neutral would be saying hey to your neighbor and going on about your business. Okay. Neutral would be just going in the grocery store. You're not speaking to anyone, but you're not being mean to them either. You're just in the grocery store doing you. That's neutral. But when you are in a connection with someone or you're about to enter one, you need to make sure you're understanding whether or not this person and yourself are here to hinder or to move forward. to harm or to bring peace, to withdraw from you or to support. That happens through time. It happens through your self-love will help you regulate your emotions. You're not just going to be throwing out and pouring out emotions with people who have not proven that they are a vessel that can contain those emotions with care without cracks in it, right? You're just pouring into somebody that has a whole bunch of cracks and they're never filled, okay? Because that way you never have enough for yourself. All right? If you're a person who know you have a lot of cracks and you got a lot of work to do, then you don't go seeking people who have a lot to pour out. You start pouring into yourself. You start fixing those cracks, right? And pouring. Whatever makes you cry tears, that's what you need to work on. Whatever makes you feel anger, that's what you need to work on. Whatever makes you feel anything but joy, love, peace, even neutrality sometimes, righteousness, goodness, faith, mercy, all the things. If it's not making you feel those things, then those are the things you really, really need to be paying attention to, and going deep within and reflecting on, hey, what is it that I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, doing? What has happened to me before? Pull from those experiences. Your body will tell you, you might have aches and pains. Oh, something's going on. Okay. So this is where self-love, self-awareness, self-respect, self-regulation, self-discipline, all the self-things come into play to help you become your highest self so that you are establishing soul ties that do not bind you into contracts, but they build and connect you through covenant. Okay? So, that is school lunch for today. Is there anybody in the room? I'm going to be here another, I'll say 10 minutes. I'll give it 10 minutes. Do you have any questions based on what I have been sharing? I'm not doing any readings. I'm not, answering any personal stuff, just based on what I've been sharing today. Do you have any questions? Put them in the comments. Also, if you're new here, I am live thank you, G Sark, sorry. I am here every Sunday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. That's where I do readings. The first 3 people who have never had a reading from me before, if you get there before the 20-minute mark, I will put you on the list for a free reading, okay? 3 cards, up to 3 cards, no more, okay? After the 20-minute mark, everyone has to leave a super chat of $9.99 or more to get a reading, 10-card pull, okay? That's on Sundays and Wednesdays. On every other Friday is our VIP nights. That is where members get priority. For the first 30 minutes, the live will be public, okay? So that means that I will be doing pick-a-cards. Hey, Charles. I will be doing pick-a-card readings for the first 30 minutes for the public. After that 30 minutes, I will transition. Hey, Maggie. I will transition to members only. So the live will close for the public and members only, and we will go into what the members get. So you'll have to become a member. All right. And on Tuesdays, from here until the end of December, at noon Central Time, I am here for school lunch. Okay. All right, Maggie, you say, so would you say a marriage is a covenant or a contract, or should it be based on your own spiritual beliefs? Okay. All of these connections are based on the energy between you two as you enter into them. So a marriage can either be a contract or a covenant, just like a long-term relationship that never has an actual paper marriage, right? It's not on the books in the courthouse, but these people, hey, Tech on Wheels, these people have a true loving connection. They are two sovereign beings that have come together to build life and connection. Okay. That energy is a covenant. If you have two people who get married for reasons that they are not two sovereign beings coming together to share love and light and to, build a beautiful, harmonious connection, that is a contract. It is definitely dependent upon the energy that the two come together on. Okay, that's why a lot of marriages don't make it, because they're misaligned energetically. Everyone has an agenda. Everyone has a sort of control that they want over a situation, or they're looking for outside validation, or they're lonely, or it's money, or they want children, or when you got this person over here deep down really knowing that they don't want children, but they're compromising because this person makes them feel a certain way, or this person is beautiful, or this person has money. And then you have, it's all kinds of situations and reasons. Those are contracts. But if you have two sovereign beings, they're both managing their lives, their lives, their emotions, their health, whatever. They're managing those things well. They're very secure in themselves, right? You have these two people and they happen to align and come together, and there's a spark, there's a connection, and they say, I see you. And the other person says, I see you seeing me, and I see you too. Okay. Then this person isn't trying to change this one, and this person isn't trying to change this one. What they're doing is they're seeing where their compatibilities lie. They're enhancing and spending time together in order to, bring joy to one another. And where they are not compatible, they're not trying to change the other person. They're just noticing. They may make, suggestions. Hey, I noticed you do this when this happens. Can you tell me the reason why you do that? Because the other person may not be aware. And the only idea in asking the question is to help that person be a better them, because you want the best for them. It's not to try to change them or say that they're this way or that way, because you have already aligned with them in a way that that they're great, at least great for you. You see what I'm saying? Okay, I'm glad you got your answer, Maggie. All right, so anyone else in the room who wants to, you guys also can leave super stickers and super chats and all of that, okay? If you want to bless the teacher. All right, so again, I will be here. Let me put these on so I can better see the comments. I'll be here Sunday and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Central Time, where I will be doing readings. Tuesdays at noon Central Time, now through the end of December, we will be doing this, School of Life, okay? School lunch. So bring your lunches and your notebooks, okay? Every other Friday, we are doing VIP nights where it's strictly it's priority members. So the first 30 minutes, we will be doing pick-a-cards for the public, and then at the 30-minute mark we will transition to members only, and we will go over there where they will get their membership perks. Okay, also you can book personal readings. That link is in the description box below. Yeah, I had a personal reading yesterday, y'all. It was so my God, it's almost making me want to cry, so I'm not gonna. I never tell people's business about, details of personal readings. But I can tell you the feelings there and the release was so powerful. It was probably one of the most extreme shifts in energy for the better that I have seen since I've been doing this full time. I mean, I loved every single moment of it, watching that person's enlightenment and watching their transformation into the truth of who they really are, and understanding the things that happened to them, like mind blown. Okay, it blew their mind, but it blew mine too. Okay. So I'll take one other question if anybody has one. Otherwise, I want you guys to keep those things in mind. The times, the personal readings. Seems like I'm missing something. You guys share my channel, hype videos. Watch out for the post tabs. That's where I keep all the community news. You guys can also leave, any kind of review or something like that you want to share about the channel or about a reading that you got. That would be helpful and nice. Yeah, that's everything. So, yeah. So if no one else has anything else, I am going to go ahead and sign off. I have a final exam to get to in physics. Not excited about it, but it's going to get done. Because I have to get started on finishing up coursework for my psychology class. And then I have a 2,000 word paper to do. I don't know what she was thinking. Who gives somebody a 2,000 word paper? I'm going to step back. I'm not going to complain. I signed up for it. I entered the contract. Okay. I entered the contract. All right, you guys. So that is the lesson on soul ties. I am going to redo the thumbnail so that as people come along, they will be able to see exactly. Sakshi, you'll need to come back on, what day of the week is it? You'll need to come back tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. Central Time. Be on time to get on the list, and we can do you a short reading for free. If you don't get there on time, you'll need $9.99 US for a longer reading. Okay? Or you can just pay for a longer reading anyway. You said I've already spoken 2,000 words. I got it. Just speak to my instructor through the paper. Yeah. I have to go back through coursework and make sure that I'm incorporating all that stuff. So that's where I wish I could free flow my thoughts. If I could, that paper would have been done. Okay. All right, you guys. So come back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Time, where I will be doing readings. We will have our usual format. You guys watch the shorts and give them thumbs up as you go through your week when they drop. Watch them and like them and share them and all the things. Okay. I had a great time. This was a great lesson. Feroza, this is a good question here. Do I believe that the people who talk a lot can't keep secrets? No, I don't believe that. And I will use my mother as an example. If you are new here, you will understand that I have run across many seers and readers in my life. And my mother was one of them, but she is still yet to this day the most powerful one that I have ever run across. Okay. I am grateful that she passed along her gift to me through birth. And in her death and transition, I have noticed that my gifts have heightened, and I believe she have transferred her energetic gifts onto me. And so I am getting stronger by the day, which is wonderful. Okay, I'm not complaining. But my mom often, she talked a lot because she was a very chipper, happy person. People liked to, just be around her. And she did readings often. But never once did I hear her share anyone's secrets. She never gossiped. And she never told anyone's secrets. Never. She was 71 when she died. I was 51 when she died. And never, ever, ever in all those years did I hear her tell a secret or gossip about anyone. So it's not the people who talk a lot who tell secrets. People who tell secrets, they do it to get validation and to gain connection. People who are solid within themselves don't see the need to tell other people's secrets. Okay? People who are fully connected within don't see the need to tell other people's secrets. Okay? They're trying to gain connection somehow. That's why gossip is such a thing. That's why, telling stuff that people say, oh, don't tell nobody. That's a little morsel that you can take, little piece of toxic food that you can take and share with somebody else, and then poison everybody else along the way who shares it. You see what I'm saying? This is food for the soul. This is healthy food. I wonder how many people are going to go share morsels of this. Okay. Right? So I hope that answers your question, Feroza. Anyone else have a question? I have about, the intention is to stay here an hour. I've been here 51 minutes. So if anyone else has a question, I will take that. Now, you guys, I just want you to understand that you have every bit of power in you that you look for or see in other people that you don't think you have. Everything is energy. It's all energy. You can decide how much of it you want to pour into yourself, how much of it you want to build for yourself, how powerful you want to be. That's a decision that's made moment by moment. Okay? Next week, for school lunch, 12 noon, Tuesday, Central Time, we will be learning about living from the heart space, which is a mechanism of power. Okay? It is a mechanism of the most powerful energy that you can have, because the heart is the most powerful organ in the body, and the heart center is the most powerful area of your aura, or your energy signature, your electromagnetic field. Okay? So next week, Tuesday at noon Central Time, we will be talking about living from the heart space. Okay? Anyone else have a question? If not, we're going to sign off. Had a great time. Wonderful lesson. I'm going to go back and watch it myself. I am. Everything that I teach, I have studied through life and through observation, through experience, through books, knowledge, through learning from other sages, other seers and people of wisdom. And I don't teach anything that I am not willing to learn. I am a learner first. I'm a student first. I'm a student of life. I'm not going to try to get up here and teach you anything that I'm not studying or haven't studied. Okay? I am a student of life first before I am a teacher. Atheist, if you have a respectful and kind question, I would love to read it. Okay? All right. So we have 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes, and then I'm going to get off. Okay? I'm enjoying this time together. I'm actually enjoying the energy here. If you come to Umi Jua's Tarot on a regular basis, then you know that the energy is getting more and more light, more and more beautiful. We have less and less trolls. The connections being made are just, it's just community and harmonious. And I love it so much. I love it so much. King D17, I am located in the Southeast United States. Okay, we have 3 minutes. Anyone have a question related to the lesson today? That's all I'm answering for now. Questions related to the lesson today on soul ties, contracts versus covenants. Okay? Wow, I forgot I got money coming today. And more money, and more money. Ain't God faithful? King D17, how much? If that's a respectful question, I will ask you to follow up. If it is not, I will ask you to dismiss yourself because this is a loving and respectful place. And if that's not happening, we don't entertain it here. Okay? All right, you guys. 2 minutes left and then we will roll on. Don't forget the schedule, Sundays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Central Time, where I do readings. First and third Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time, where we have members VIP nights. And Tuesdays at noon Central, we have school lunch, where we are now, okay? Don't forget, you can book personal readings. That link is always in the description box and comment section, okay? Yeah, check the description box first, just in case I don't get to the comments right away. All right, so I guess I will go ahead and sign off. I'm glad you love everyone, King D17. That's a beautiful place to live. All right. Am I a nurse? No. I got that when my mom was in the hospital. The nurses and doctors thought I was a nurse because the spirit realm, they were conducting the care that she needed. And so I was just channeling them to make sure that my mom got what she needed. And so I am not a nurse, but people think that sometimes. I think nurses are very. There's something I could probably never do. They're on a different. They're on a very different wavelength than me, because I don't think I would have the patience to be anybody's nurse, and it wouldn't be so much the patience as it would the establishment. Okay. All right, so we are at the 1 hour mark. And I am going to sign off. I thank you for everyone who stayed. Thank you for going ahead and sharing the live once it's over. Take your notes, do what you need to do to embody this information for yourself, okay, and use it to transform and transmute negativity to transform into light, okay? Until next time, I am Jua, and you have been fed. Bye-bye.